All right. Welcome in, everybody. It is Sunday morning quarterbacks coming at you live right at 10:15 on the East Coast, where we're going to be previewing the full Sunday slate from every perspective you need from DFS, player props, spreads, totals, and everything else in between. Also, we bring in all the top analysts in the game covering their squads. We have a few good head-to-heads coming up because we all know you love when the three of us drop off and you get to hear other people talk on Daily Bread Media. We're live on YouTube. We appreciate everyone who's tapped in there. Jump into the comments if you have any fantasy questions because there's 2 weeks left. No one cares about your fantasy team, but in my opinion, the extra week killed it because 14-man's league, you played everybody once. NFL and their money ruined fantasy football. But in other news, live on Twitter, hit the link up in the title and so you can drop your best bets and all that good stuff. Powered by the Wise Guys Diamond Club. Be sure to be hopping into their DMs. We appreciate everyone tapped in yesterday for Paid for Play. We'll see Sam. We'll see how the vibes are flowing in. Maybe we'll see. Oh, Roddy can't show up today. Maybe he'll still pop in just to say hi and do some more yoga in the background. But Sosa, how you feeling?
Splendid, man. Nice, great day yesterday. Great day in college football. Kansas State obviously handling, doing the Lord's work, against a Christian university. But it still looks like when it's all said and done that they'll probably get into the Final Four. As far as like that's just my thing. But other than that, yeah, nice little start to the weekend. Gary to watch the best soccer player on the planet right now. Hopefully get a W against Poland. And yeah, excited for Sunday. Excited for another day to make a shit ton of money off football players that wear pads and tights.
And then Spin's got the full day ready of Red Zone, the multi-screen setup, whatever it is, since the Bucks are playing Monday, so you get the extra eye, no extra emotion involved. How we feeling?
Feeling good. Like I told you before the show, stepped out of my VR world for just a little bit to broadcast, and then might go back in and play some NFL before the games start. But yeah, there's no Bucks game to flip to today, so it's all about the money today.
Love to hear it.
Yes, sir. So hopefully we're out here within an hour. We got more of a full slate today. Finishing up the bye weeks next week. So we got a few of our analysts on bye. Few can't tap in, but you already know we'll bring you all the top-notch stuff. So let's start it off with the first game of the day. Russ, how are we going to feel, Sosa? Is he going to make some noise in Baltimore?
Broncos country. It's over.
I mean, did it ever start?
It's been, if there was ever any doubts, it's really over, man. Ben said he was over the hill. Ben said he wasn't going to be good. Ben told y'all since the beginning of the season they were going to finish dead last in the division. And it's looking that way.
How the hell are you going to pay and extend someone without even like getting them in the building?
Well, it's because they haven't had a guy that had the label of potential, Hall of Famer join the team since John Elway. Or since Peyton Manning.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Even though they got the tail end of Peyton's career and that defense carried him to a championship, but nobody will admit that, right? Like that was the worst Super Bowl ever. Trust me, I was there. It was fucking horrible. But again, in this particular matchup, I mean, you have to expect Baltimore coming off just an absolute heartbreaking, garbage, terrible, trash ending to the fourth quarter last week against Jacksonville. I mean, I think we've become accustomed to this Baltimore team blowing double-digit leads. I mean, they've done it every time they've lost this season, they've blown a double-digit lead. So, I mean, expectation is Baltimore. I do like Gus Edwards anytime touchdown. When he sees the field, he scores. I believe it's 4 out of the last 5 at M&T when he's played. He scored. I like Gus Edwards anytime touchdown. I also am going to go with Russ Wilson to definitely throw a pick. I think the numbers are relatively juiced, but I like Russ to throw a pick today against Baltimore. The more and more you look at them, everything downfield is contested for him. He's looked very average. The deep ball just does not look
accurate. It's only minus 135 on DraftKings.
So well worth the bet. I like him to turn it over. I like this Baltimore defense to get after him, and I just think that that's how it's going to go. I believe that Baltimore, the 9.5 is too much for me to touch, to be totally honest. Even though we become so accustomed to Harbaugh, covering in the month of December, and obviously December has started. So wouldn't be surprised if they covered, but 9.5 is a little too much for me. Spin.
Spin. Does Andrews get back in the groove?
Yeah, probably. But I actually have another tight end one that I'll speak on in a second. I just want to talk about Russ for just a second. He does seem like a legitimately nice guy, like a guy you could just sit down and talk to.
Unlimited.
But the motherfucker is so corny. I just can't get over Mr. Unlimited. If you haven't looked that up, you need to look that one up. Oh my God. And the worst part about it is that Ciara is there in the background cheering him on. If that were my wife, she would be in the background and be like, yo, shut the fuck up.
You suck right now. You suck right now.
Anyways, no, for fantasy for this one, you probably weren't playing Russ on your fantasy team anyway. If you are, I would try not to. Lamar, you're going to play anyway. Cortland Sutton, you're probably going to play anyway. But the one that I want to focus on here is Greg Dulcich for the Broncos. So Baltimore ranks 20th in tight end defense for coverage against tight ends. They're 25th, I believe. And Dulcich is seeing some ample target volume as of late, also because of the Broncos' inability to move the ball down the field. Jerry Jeudy expected to play, however, is going to be very, very limited in what he can do because he's coming off that injury. Dulcich, anytime touchdown scorer, is plus 350. I would take that for sure. I think there's more than enough value there to at least just put a half unit on it. And, I think you can look at Dulcich's receptions and his yards because the Ravens have allowed multiple tight ends to get either 50 yards, a touchdown, or both this season.
Yeah, Dulcich has been a very, very good fantasy player all season since he integrated lineup. I think week 5, 6. He's been really, really good at the tight end position. So I'm with that 100%.
Yeah, and the other thing with the Ravens is the type of tight end that they have struggled with is the type of tight end that Dulcich is. He's got a little bit of downfield speed, not too much of a blocker, is more of a route runner. So even if Jeudy plays and is limited in what he can do, I can definitely see them running Dulcich on a lot of short routes. So like I said, like his receptions, I like him to potentially get a short touchdown as well at plus 350.
And then best of luck to everyone starting Latavius Murray for everyone who's stuck starting the Broncos running backs. Nope. And then you got potentially Mike Boone back this week because I remember he was the hottest name 6 or 7 weeks ago to pick up back off of IR. Let's see what happens there.
To answer Steven's question about Sutton or Deontay Johnson in any format.
All right, let's get to our second game of the day before we get to our first head-to-head. Back-to-back weeks, the Birds are home, finally get a 1 o'clock game. I think this is only their 4th 1 o'clock game this entire season so far. Weird time slot for them to be playing in. Nah, I'm just fucking around. But facing few of the top running backs back-to-back weeks, well, it doesn't get any easier here. They kind of shown that they can control it, but they kind of still shown their paper mache there. Jordan Davis looks to be returning, but I don't know. Everyone says that's going to have such a big impact. Well, the reason why the Birds have been able to do this, and we'll bring in our analyst, is just because they've had the large leads at the time. So it gets a lot tougher to run. So teams have exposed them on how to do it with Gardner Johnson now hitting the IR as well. A lot of more reps in this secondary that was top that is looking a little bit more banged up, and that was one of the strongest pieces bailing us out. But with Hurts back there, putting the team on his back, we'll let our man Cam talk about it here. What do we like in this 4.5-point matchup, where the Titans are the most bet team of the weekend, by the way?
Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody's praying for the downfall, right? I'm not sure I'm going to touch the sides, but this is the AJ Brown Bowl. It's what I've been waiting for. He's had a poor out in the last 2 outings, but that's kind of how I'm targeting this game. I mean, we all know the relationship with AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts. If you've been watching the media, hearing the things he said this week, he came out, I think it was this week earlier, came out and said, I think I won in the whole situation, right? So at that point, I think Jalen Hurts and him are going to go out and show the world that they won. And realistically, there's one bet, like my favorite bet on this game for the day is the Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It doesn't make any sense right now, the line. He's hit it 5 out of the last 6 games. It's still plus money, plus 108. It just run with it. For me, it's kind of like it was like his rushing touchdowns for a bit. You just kind of you bet it, and you know you're looking at good money there. So that's my favorite one for the day. But I'm also on AJ Brown over 5.5 catches. That's at plus money again, plus 108. And I'm playing AJ Brown all the way up to 100 yards. I'm playing him up all the way to 100 yards plus 225. You can take it 77.5. I think again, I just truly believe today Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown are going to show out. The whole relationship there. One thing I would stay away from if you are going to bet any props on this game, don't touch your rushing props. Tennessee Titans, and you guys can keep me honest here, have not allowed any running back to go over the 58.5 that Miles Sanders is at, I think, all year.
No. One
okay.
running back, but it was back in like week 1.
And Mahomes did it, but he's not a running back, and he was just being scrambled out of the pocket. That was a good game, and I remember a lot of his runs were just like broken plays, and he just took off, and they were chasing him around. So don't play. If you're going to play Miles Sanders, play him under. Don't play his rushing. I wouldn't even touch Hurts' rushing in that sense because when I watched that Mahomes game, he was basically broken plays running around. So don't touch our rushing props. Tennessee Titans don't allow anybody to run on them. And then on the other side of it, you're right. Jordan Davis is back. I still think they're going to run the ball a lot with Derrick Henry. So I don't think anybody should be afraid of playing his rushing attempts, maybe his yards. To be honest, I don't know if he hits his yards, but it's at 88. So it really depends. But I do think he gets over the 22 touches because if he breaks off 1 or 2, they're going to keep going back to it. But Jordan Davis is back. So I'm really excited to see if that helps do something, because we've had that issue with the run where everyone's realized on short yardage plays, they can just go right up the middle on us, get that first down, kind of get back to that third and whatever. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the passing game because what's happened with AJ Brown over the last few weeks is realistically teams have realized they can play the zone against us, which means AJ Brown's not one-on-one anymore. And that's where he was feasting. He destroys corners one-on-one, but so we'll see. But I'm on AJ Brown today. I'm on the field. I just truly believe it's going to be a nice comeback game for him. That's where I'm at. I don't know, Rex, you can keep me honest, but that's where my head's at.
Yeah, it's going to be a smash mouth game where the line's going to determine who wins this on both sides because we see Vrabel's teams, even if they're not as skilled, they're just going to try to fight you after every play, which is you love to see from your squad. Yeah. One thing I saw from Hurts in person last week is, and especially to your point, he might get his rushing yards just because he'll break it and there could be that big of a gap. But I think Sirianni and co told them no more hits. Do not take any more hits because you saw one where he could have planted his right foot on the sideline and tried to drive the corner into the end zone. He decided just to skip out of bounds, which is smart, which he should be doing at this point. And against a team like the Titans, he doesn't need any unnecessary hits. So I look for the ball to be out of his hands quick today because this is a game where you want to get in, get out, and not get him any long-lasting effects. Is there a team that can beat him up if our line shows a little bit weak? Spin. Sanders, your favorite guy. What do you like here?
Yeah, it's not even so much Miles Sanders. It's just how Nick Sirianni uses him in certain situations. But yeah, I totally agree. With past comments. I mean, Titans #1 in rushing DVOA, 17th against the pass. One prop that I think you can probably take that has probably more value than it should. AJ Brown 2+ touchdowns at plus 750. I wouldn't put him like your whole bankroll on it, but I think that you can definitely look to get some value out of that one. The rest of this game for me, for fantasy purposes, I mean, start the guys you're going to normally start. I mean, if you have Derrick Henry, you're starting him. If you have Jalen Hurts, you're starting him, so on and so forth. The only guy that I would probably look to try to get into my fantasy lineups today would be Devonta Smith. You look at PFF grades, he matches up really well with McCreary, who he's projected to take most of his snaps against right now on the right side. So matches up well with him with size, speed, and has seen about an average of about 7 targets over the past 3 weeks. So I would probably look to try to get Devonta Smith into both DFS lineups and into your fantasy lineups. You can also look at his props.
Yeah, I love that. I love that 2 touchdown play. I don't give out those plays because like the math behind it. I don't have the balls that you guys do, but I did bet. I put a sprinkle on AJ Brown 2 touchdowns at plus 700 on FanDuel.
All right,
I
so
did do
you're
that.
allowed to talk now.
All right, real quick. I think CJ Gardner-Johnson being unavailable is going to be huge in this game.
Very huge.
You do not have a center field guy who was playing at an all-pro level.
Mhm.
He was the best center field safety in all of football this season. He covered more ground than any safety in football this season. Every single time someone tweeted about another safety, he had a problem with it. Because he wants to get paid. I respect it. He's been an absolute baller, and his presence has allowed for a different level of aggression on the perimeter.
Mhm.
That you get these super aggressive press guys in Bradbury and Slay. They can be really successful when they have that guy over the top they can depend on. It's just a fact. I think that Tannehill comes out here, plays pretty well. I think I think the game goes over as well. I know that Jordan Davis coming back, even though he played like 40% of the snaps before he got the ankle. Obviously, he's a huge help to complement Fletcher Cox, who can't play a full workload anymore, and just for those downs where the team is going to run the ball. So I like Tannehill over 1.5 touchdowns plus 215. I think it's a very good bet. Especially if the Eagles try to sell out here to try and stop Derrick Henry. Tannehill's going to have to put the ball in the air. I think no CJ Gardner-Johnson is huge for this defense.
Reed Blankenship time. You saw him last week.
Just like you lost Davis, you get him back, and then you lose the other guy who has basically kind of held things together. Another prop we're going to run back this week, Austin Hooper over 20.5 receiving yards. He's hit the number in 5 of 6, including 2 games with a backup quarterback. And if you want to play it to 30, you should too, because every single time he's hit 30 out of the 5 of 6 times. If you're going to get a number at 20.5, the price it's still mispriced. Play it to 30. I'll take it 5 out of 6, especially with Tannehill as your quarterback, because who believes in the linebacking core of the Philadelphia Eagles? I know Eagles fans don't.
No, the Kobe Dean came and sniffed the field still.
So that's where I'm at. I like Tannehill over 1.5 touchdowns. I like Austin Hooper over 20.5 yards. And I think the Eagles still pull it out of the crib, but not touching a spread or anything like that. Just that's what I like. Also lean towards the over in this one. I lean towards the over simply because if Aaron Rodgers and them can move the ball, I think, again, CJ being out is huge. So we'll see. That's all I got. Got nothing on Burks. I mean, he could probably, get a couple catches, but again, it's a crapshoot between him and Bobby Trees, who might get 5 or 6 targets today.
We might put the rookie in jail because he's the one that they decide to pick over AJ Brown. Again, I think there's going to be some personal feelings in this game. AJ
So
Brown's
Westbrook Akina or whatever then.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Burks for me, I would say, maybe he catches a touchdown. You can probably slide him in for that, like 3 to 4 catches and 40 to 50 yards. So kind of more of a middling day with Burks. Yes, Gardner-Johnson is out, but the best really situation for him today would be if the Eagles get ahead early and Tennessee has to play catch up. Otherwise, I think you can probably expect just a middling day from Burks.
Well, Cam, we appreciate you tapping in with us as usual. See you maybe next week if you want to keep making these appearances, because we can always talk to birds.
Yeah, man, I'm about it. Just hit me up. I'm out.
See Lewandowski taking that free kick, looking like the LSU field goal kicker, driving it right into the line to ruin everyone's hopes and dreams that it could be a close game yesterday.
Lord God.
I guess we'll bring in Sam and Chuck now. I don't know how that has any relevance to each other, but we're bringing in for our first head-to-head of the day. I don't know if we can drop out here because we kind of might play the security guard and bouncer here. So it's good that they're separated between Spin and Sosa here.
Hey man, listen.
No love lost rivalry here.
Y'all listen. Y'all could have at it with this because last year both sides was talking lots of shit and only one side came out with results. Just saying. Oh, very seldomly do I get to talk shit on Patrick.
Yeah. I was just going to say, all right, gentlemen, keep it clean, touch gloves, and come out fighting. Here we go.
Yeah. Handle that.
Good morning, Charles.
Yeah, good morning. You such a bum for wanting us to start this early. You couldn't let it marinate for the audience, but go ahead.
I got shit I got to do, Chuck. Champs go second. You can go first.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, yeah, man. Rightfully so. Yeah. This is a game that I've circled since the schedule has dropped. I was very frustrated last year. The same damn script happened twice. Hopefully it doesn't happen again today. These guys, they've been locked in all week. This is the game they've been talking about for a minute, and so now we're here. All week long, I've been liking what the guys have been saying. I know one in particular kind of kicked it off with the trash talking a little bit, but we needed that trash talking. We needed something to look forward to for this game.
It would help if he got the player's name right, but
shit. Oh well, shit. He got other stuff on his mind, dude. Anyway, fan bases, they've been talking trash all week. Like I said, players been going back and forth all week. But I know in this game, I think we are going to see stars be stars in this one. We're going to see a lot of fireworks in this one. I expect that. But at the end of the day, I just think our defense going to make a few more stops than they do. And I think we come out with the win. I know last time I checked, I know we've been getting a little bit more of the tickets and they've been getting a little bit of the money, but that doesn't faze me one bit in this matchup. So I'm confident in my guys. I'm confident we're going to get paid back, and that's just what it is.
all right. I mean, last year you were talking a lot of smack, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Talking a lot of smack. You said that the real killer was on the Chiefs sidelines. We found out who the real killer was. You said the Chiefs weren't going to score 3 points in the second half again. Look what happened. I think this game's a little bit more closely or a little bit better lined this year. I think it's going to be a back and forth game like it was both times last year. I mean, it's Joe Burrow, man. I can't go against him. It's like Patrick Mahomes for you. I'm sure you can't go against him. But I mean, in big games, he's always stepped up. He's been he put Patrick Mahomes in his place twice last year. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close one back and forth. Bengals going to pull it out. Jamar Chase coming back, going to be a big help. I know that you all got a couple rookies in the secondary. Going back to the Chiefs Bills game earlier this year, Diggs kind of cooked you all. So yeah, I think the secondary is going to be in a little bit of a hurt today.
But here's my question to you: do you think Jamar Chase 100%?
Yeah, I think if he would have played last week, that would have been rushing it. But they held him out, and that was perfectly. It's enough time for him to get back. He said he feels 100%, so he's good to go. Even then, I mean, you got Boyd, you got Higgins. I know Higgins in the championship game was the downfall. I mean, they focused way too much on Chase, rightfully so, after 266 yards and 3 TDs in the first matchup. So, I mean, you can pick your poison. You can bracket Chase, but I mean, there's just too many weapons for this to shut down Burrow. So.
The reason why I say that is I don't think Jamar's 100%. He's gonna be out there, you know what I mean. But I don't think he plays a full amount of snaps. But I said earlier in the week that I'm more concerned about T. Higgins, and Bengals fans didn't like that. They thought I was insulting Jamar Chase. I'm like, no, I'm not insulting Jamar Chase when I say that. I just think that Jamar Chase is not gonna play a full amount of snaps today. I just don't think he's 100%. Because we went through this with Mike Williams a couple weeks ago. He talking about he fell 200%, and then after the first catch, he's out the game. He sprains his ankle. So I'm just saying, and I'm not saying Jamar Chase will get hurt in this game.
Well, I trust Jamar more than I trust, I guess, Mike Williams, because they tried to get him back last week and they wanted to put him out there, but he told them no, and he held himself out. So I think if he truly wasn't feeling right and good for this game, he wouldn't be out there. I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be able to play the full snap count because, I mean, he's been out 4 games, 5 weeks, hasn't played in a game action for a long time. So, yeah, I could see probably not full allotment of snaps, but he's still going to get out there. His touchdown props at even money plus 100. It feels like, it feels lined wrong at this point. if he's going out there, I think him and Joe have just such a great connection that it's going to pop off at some point in this game. It may not be for the 266 yards that it was last year, but probably more closer to what it was in the AFC Championship, where it wasn't the volume and it wasn't the amount of yards, but it was still just like right time, and Joe trusted him down at the goal line more than I think anybody else.
All right. Well, shoot, man. Let's go and get down to it, man. Let's go and get these plays in, man. I know we got a long show, so all right. So this is what I'm looking at, man. I think personally, I think this game goes over, man. I think it goes over to 52 at -115. I'm gonna go and play that, and of course, I'm gonna ride my boys, man. I'm gonna take them on the money line though. So -135. I'm roll with that. Let's see here. Anytime touchdowns. Travis Kelce, I mean, that's self-explanatory. He always shows up for the primetime games and whatnot. -145, I mean, it's a little bit juice, but, it's under the -150, so, I mean, take that. Another guy that's been pretty familiar with you guys, man, Juju Smith-Schuster, man, like, we didn't use him that much last week just for this game, and he's just come off an injury, too. Now, I know Bengals fans going to talk shit, saying that, we clapped him over the middle one time. We're very familiar with Juju. But at the same time, Juju clapped the hell out of Vontaze Burfict, so we even. So I'm going to take him for anytime touchdown +125. And then, like I mentioned, I think the one guy for Cincinnati would probably be T. Higgins, man. I just think I like the kid, Joshua Williams. I like his potential and what he could bring here in the future, but I just don't know if he's going to be physical enough for T. Higgins. I think T's going to have his time with him. So +140, you can look at that. As far as I'm going to look at the passing yards and the receiving in this one, man. Let's see.
I can give you a second. I got 3 plays. Bengals money line +115. I see the numbers rising. Tickets are all on the Chiefs this week. I mean, it's Joe Burrow in a big game. I've learned to never doubt that. Most people should have learned that as well after last year. Chuck, it's going to keep happening to you. I mean, if you're going to keep shaking your head, it's just going to keep happening. So just like believe in Joe Burrow.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
Believe in Joe Burrow. He's the killer. He killed the Grim Reaper last year. I mean, I don't know what the name is for the person that kills death. So if we want to come up with a nickname for that, we can call him Joe. We can call Joe Burrow that. Joe Burrow over 2.5 passing touchdowns, +170 on DraftKings. I think with Mixon out, they're gonna have to throw the ball, get some screen games going like I did with P. Ryan last week and in the AFC Championship, and also Jamar Chase anytime touchdown plus money. I'm gonna take that every time.
Yeah, good for you, man. But anyway, dog, Joe Burrow, man, listen, he ain't gonna keep doing this, all right? They ain't gonna keep doing this, okay? I mean,
okay,
I understand that we ain't won in Cincinnati since 1984, but like I said, we've locked this game in for months now. The same shit ain't gonna keep happening, bro. Anyway, Patrick Mahomes.
You said it last year, Chuck.
That's our problem. It's last year. Y'all keep looking back at last year. It's a brand new season, my boy. It's a different team.
It's head-to-head. It's using statistics to base your prediction.
I don't give a fuck about all that. All right? We're a much better balanced team this time. I know we lost Tyreek and shit, but our depth at wide receiver is better. It's not so top-heavy this time. Just because they're not big names this time, them cats can get open, too, and make plays. So I don't give a fuck if it's not Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, but our guys are still good. Anyway, the passing yards. I'm going to get the Patrick Mahomes here. 311.311.5 at -115. I'm taking that, dog. I mean, both quarterbacks going to get their numbers, rightfully so. And I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes touchdowns, too, at +115 and over 2.5. That's easy money. That's easy money for me. And just to wrap it up here, I'm going to go to the receiving real quick because you're going to see most of the receivers get theirs in this one. We have been giving it up in the slot this year. I will say that. Like, for example, Christian Kirk, he got his numbers. I know Sam mentioned Stephon Diggs. He got his numbers against us, too, in the slot. And you can name a few of the guys, too. But Tyler Boyd over 4.5, I think it's too low. -115. He'll probably get that. Let's see here. The next one I'm gonna do is Juju over 3.5, -115. I'll take that. And then I mentioned earlier T. Higgins over 65.5 receiving yards. I feel like that's too low. And then the last one I'm gonna play is, of course, Travis Kelce here, over 84.5. See, listen, I know I'm well aware of Trey Flowers. Okay, I'm well aware of what he did against them elite tight ends and all that. He only held them like 69 yards combined and all that, but he ain't gonna guard him the entire time. I can understand he guarded him the entire time, but I just don't think that's gonna be the case here. They probably do that in certain situations, but I still think Travis Kelce is gonna hold his arm because he did that against Derwin James this year. You know what I mean? So over 84.5 -105, and that's it, man. I'm probably done here.
CBS Chuck today, Sam. He took notes from you off the Pay for Play episodes. No, Sky Moore, back-to-back week mentions from Chuck.
Ah, damn. Hold on. I forgot about my guy, Sky, man. I'm going to play that too, dog.
Everybody else did too.
Over 25.5 -110. That's a wrap.
Spit, what do you like here in this one?
For fantasy and for DFS, I mean, this is obviously one of the games of the week that you'd be watching. You start everybody that you normally would. And I think
Even
that
Sky Moore?
What's that?
Even Sky Moore?
I said the guys you normally would. I don't think Sky Moore normally gets into a starting lineup. I do like the prop though.
14-man leagues, he's in starting lineups. Trust me.
Yeah, no. I if you normally
Not
start
mine.
Sky Moore, you definitely can. But no, for this one, I think that this is also a good game for a tournament stack for DFS for bigger tournaments. Reason being is because Mahomes is statistically, for DFS perspective, far and away the best quarterback on the board today. Now, the problem here is that he's really expensive on both sites, on FanDuel, DraftKings. So if you're going to try to make a cash game lineup with Mahomes, it's going to be tough because there's not a lot of other values on the board. So you're going to have to, but in tournaments, you can gamble a little bit. You can stack any side, any which way you want in this game, and I think be fine. So you can stack Mahomes with Kelce, any of his receivers, run it back with Chase or Higgins, so on and so forth. But yeah, this and the over for sure.
So what are your quick thoughts here?
I expect a very fun football game. I just want to say also, the only comment I have is this: why is every young quarterback against Patrick Mahomes Brady Manning? That's all I got.
Thank you. They doing it
Oh
with
my
this
God.
one, dog.
Oh
They
my
ain't
God.
stop comparing my
Every
quarterbacks,
single
okay?
quarterback against him becomes Brady Manning. They need to stop that shit. That's all I got.
Please. And like I said, I need to see it again from Joe Burrow. I just don't think he's gonna do it again today. That's just me.
Saw it twice last year, Chuck.
Again, last year, brand new season, dog. You gonna see, dog. You gonna see. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, Chuck. But I mean, do we need to get you like a Life 360 subscription so we know where you're at after the game this year?
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Listen, I'm gonna be here win or lose, okay? Whether it's in Bengal spaces, Chief spaces, it don't matter. I'll come up to Bengal spaces. I'll show my face, but I know we're gonna win this game, so I'm not worried about y'all.
Well, we'll have to see. We appreciate Chuck and Sam tapping in with us each and every week. Make sure you're following both of them as they're producing their own content and all that good stuff. If you're the Chiefs diehards, make sure you're tapped into Kingdom Cast with Chuck, because it's the best way to get the source of the pulse of the fans and the guys right there. And ladies.
Fuck the Bengals.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
I was expecting a little bit more heat, but
I'm not
they're
upset.
both
about any
team.
of it.
All right. The narrative game. Really not much else at stake other than just storylines, personal beef, all that good stuff. So bringing our man Bullpen Bets, who first week he's not high on the Browns, takes down the Bucks' bullpen. I think that's the only week where we asked you, are you confident money line? And you said no. Out of all the weeks.
Oh,
that's the only
God.
one.
The reverse jinx. The reverse
Welcome.
jinx was in play.
Hey,
That's what it was, right?
Bullpen. I just have to say, you guys should send Todd Bowles a Christmas card, because how he mismanaged the last 5 minutes of that game and overtime. Just enjoy the win. But seriously, team played hard, team deserved to win, but my God, that our head coach pissed down his leg. But that's not what this segment is about. I'll turn it back to you. Sorry.
It was all about Njoku. And I mean, that catch was unbelievable. And it's once in a lifetime shit like that. That should have never happened. It was a complete meltdown. So for me not to, tout the Browns that game, like, I wasn't ashamed. I mean, they should have lost the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I felt like I capped it right and they got lucky, and that happens. And that's how we lose these bets. We feel like we're always on the right side, and then some weird shit happens, like Njoku on 4th and forever. But I was glad to see it, well deserved by him. Now he's on the shelf, which kind of sucks. He got hurt. I don't know if it was on that particular play, but other than him, though, the Browns are healthy. The Walker Jr., the linebacker's still out, which is an issue, but it's not like we're missing JOK or Newsome. Newsome's been outstanding since he's came up. And other than him being hurt a few weeks, he is a true number one shutdown corner. He's even better than Ward. And Ward's got all the money and the Lambos and shit. But Newsome's going to overtake him for a number one guy for sure. So, hey, it's a holiday in Browns land. I mean, the dog pound's pumped. Watson's back. They're protesting now. There's protests down there in Houston. They're not happy about it. Whatever. It is what it is. I think the Browns, if they can win today, which they should, they're right back in thing. I mean, they're going to be 5-7 with some head-to-heads with the Ravens and the Bengals. I mean, they're in a good spot, believe it or not, considering what they've been through with all the injuries and Brissett. And I expect Chubb to come out and do his thing. Hunt will probably get a few looks. I expect Watson to, rely pretty heavy on his checkdowns with Hunt and Chubb out of the backfield. That's where Njoku comes in. Without him being there, it doesn't really give him that guy to check down to other than the running backs. Harrison Bryant's a fine player, and I'm sure he'll have 3 or 4 catches. He might even fall into the end zone, but that's not looks that we're looking. That's just too much luck involved there. But I do like the Browns. I mean, if you're a Browns fan, you got to be excited. I mean, Watson's going to bring them a different aspect. I mean, I know. I hate to compare him to the best quarterbacks, but he's got that type of upside, where these guys.
I'll do it for you. Top 5 at the position, whether you like them or not. I don't like. If we're talking football.
Well, potentially, yeah, potentially. Now we'll see, and he's going to be rally. Let's give him a quarter or so and see what's what. But he should know the playbook. He knows the players. He definitely knows the area down there. So I don't know. I expect a big game. Like, I'm loaded up on him in fantasy. I think the guy's going to win me $1 million today. So I got him stacked up with Cooper, Bryant. I mean, I got several stacks with Watson. I got some naked Watson. Like, I'm pretty heavy on him today. And here's why. If you wait until next week and he comes out today and goes completely nuts, you missed it, because everybody and their brother will be on him. He comes out and throws for 300 and 3 tutties today. You're done. You missed it. Next week, he'll be 40% on. Today's the day to jump on him. It's risky, but that's what I'm doing. As far as official plays go, the Browns should win. I mean, it is a big game for Houston. I get it. They're excited, but they just don't have the talent. I don't care how excited they are. I get excited too, but I don't have no talent. So there's that, I just think that the Browns will take care of business. They're going to be excited too. I got the Browns team total over 27.5. They have not had any issues scoring points. They've done that against pretty much everybody. The issue's been on the defensive side of the ball. So even with Brissett did fine. I mean, he wasn't lighting the world on fire, but they should have won a few more games with him. The defense let him down. We've seen it, the collapses in the second half of the games. So with Newsome back, JOK's back, everybody seems to be healthy besides Njoku. I expect a good showing today from the Browns. I'm going over the team total. I do think they'll win the game. The only thing keeping me off the 7 or 8 or whatever it is just that. We've seen it too many times with the backdoor covers, and there is a lot of money on Cleveland today, and we know how that usually turns out. So I am going to stay away from the spread, but Browns team total over 27.5. I got it at minus 105, just a 1-unit play. That's usually all I typically do. But they're all big plays for me. Like people, they say, well, you only play 1 unit. Well, if I'm betting on a game, it's a big play. If not, I don't fuck with it. I don't need a 10-unit play. Like that just never made sense to me. And it usually doesn't turn out, because what happens is you lose your 10-unit plays and hit your 1-unit plays.
Yeah.
And you can clip it 60% and be a fat loser.
Yeah, I'll say it for you. Any capper that gives out a 10-unit play, 20-unit max lock is a fucking idiot, and you should be unfollowed immediately. Period.
I mean, I just don't. It's just not my system. I know some people have success doing it. Over the long term, I think you're better off sticking with a 1-unit plays and then just go for the percentages. And if you hit 50%, but your average line's plus 200, you're absolutely smashing it. Like, you don't have to hit 70% to be successful. You guys know that because of all your plus money plays. Like, you can hit 50% and make a living. And I mean, I know you can. So I don't need a 10-unit play, and that's that.
Listen, I got a lot for this game.
Oh shit, here we go.
I think you guys win, and I think that Ford shows people who he is as a football player. Again, all things aside, you could feel personally about the guy however you want. In between the lines, when he's on a football field, he's elite at his job. There's no disputing that. There's visual, ocular evidence of that, regardless of how you feel about him. In this one, I got 5 plays. I got Deshaun Watson anytime touchdown, plus 280. It's the 4th. He wears number 4. Do with that information how you feel.
Your numerology shit again?
Numerology.
We here. It's Gematria Sundays with Sosa. Well, welcome.
The Mayans predicted this.
Right. Next play I got is Donovan Peoples-Jones over 48.5 yards. Vertical passing game, sign me up. It's at minus 113. Deshaun Watson, like I said, longest pass over 37.5 yards, minus 114. Sign me up. Nick Chubb, and this is my favorite play of this game. Nick Chubb, last touchdown score, plus 480. Passing game gets you down the field. Late in the game, you want your running game to salt the game away. Time of possession means nothing if your defense gives up plays or drives of 3 plays for a touchdown. Cleveland's top 5 in time of possession, and they've given up as many explosive plays as the Detroit Lions. That's not a good recipe for success.
No, for this game, it's all things Deshaun Watson. I think any of his props make a whole lot of sense. This is like Sosa said, regardless of what you think of the guy personally, regardless if you're going to be out there protesting, this has to do with what happens between the lines on the football field, and the man is absolutely elite at this position. He is elite. The other piece with this one is this game has very, very sneaky DFS potential to be a tournament winning lineup. So at bullpen, I like that you are going with this one. I think that you can stack Watson with any of the receivers. I think you can stack him with Peoples-Jones. You can stack him with Amani Cooper. And then you can actually run it back with Dameon Pierce. Reason being is the Cleveland run D is allowing almost 6 yards per carry over the last 5 weeks. They're 32nd in points allowed to running backs. And you're getting Pierce at a depressed price because his last 2 games have just been absolute dog shit. Now, he has played against 2 tougher run defenses during that time, but you're now getting a depressed price on a guy who's probably going to get between 15 to 25 touches. And like I said, is probably going to be very, very low owned. Those are the things that win tournaments in DFS.
Yeah, I like all that. I got a few that I'm running back with Pierce for sure. Absolutely.
And then if you don't feel comfortable running it back with Pierce, the other one that you can run it back with, especially on DFS sites that give you PPR points, is Nico Collins over the middle. A lot of receptions, a lot of little short stuff, especially if the Browns get ahead and Texans are playing from behind, which they usually are, you can get a lot of garbage time points from Nico Collins as a run back as well. I would not do both. So I would pick one of Nico Collins or Dameon Pierce. Pierce is going to be more expensive and leave you with less cash elsewhere. Collins will allow you to spend up a little bit at other positions.
Yeah, both of those guys are popping in a lot of these models. So I don't think that they're going to be like real sneaky plays, but definitely could be valuable. The Donovan Peoples-Jones take, he's popping in all my models too, which they're telling me to play him over Cooper. It's just the price. It's just pricing.
I think it's also his Deshaun Watson as a deep ball thrower has been the best in football when he's on the field in his career, when he's throwing the ball downfield, and there's no ways around it from that standpoint.
Yeah, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, he can get loose for sure.
It just correlates with the guy who's playing quarterback. So and also if you notice, his number jumped. His number was only 39.5 last week, and it's at damn near 50. I know it's Houston, but to have like a 10-yard change in a week just based on the change of quarterback, that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, Peoples-Jones makes me real nervous though. He has a tendency to like go straight Houdini on you sometimes. Hopefully that's not the case today, and I will be rostering him. I am heavier on Cooper. I think Cooper's just that guy. He's just that guy. He can go for 2 tutties anytime. I know he dropped the 4th down pass, but I mean that happens. I mean he's a receiver. You're going to
made up for it though with the long one at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Donovan Peoples-Jones. I just don't think that they're on the same level, obviously. So I am a little hesitant to roster him. I will be doing it today, obviously, but on most just normal Sundays, he's not in my player pool very often because he's just such a, like I said, he's really hit or miss. So, but yeah, I'm rostering him today.
We appreciate you tapping in with us, covering the Cleveland versus Houston game. Make sure you're tapped in with him at Pick City. Give him a follow on Twitter to get all of his rest of his stuff. Until next week.
Nick Chubb, last touchdown, plus 480. Telling y'all, salt the game away with the run game. Can't do it if the quarterback sucks.
All right, next game we got up on the slate here: 4-7 versus 5-7. Pittsburgh, ATL. Let's see what we got here. Atlanta, a little baby dog, or you can have it at pick'em. You got the total at 43. Bring in our man as well to cover this game from the Falcons' perspective. How are we feeling?
We're still in it. Somehow we're still in it. I mean, the NFC South, it is what it is. This kind of reminds me of like 2014 when it came down to Carolina and Atlanta and like week 17. I think it's going to come down to Atlanta and Tampa Bay in week 18. That's just how it's looking right now.
So what do you like in this one here?
Listen, man, I love what y'all have done this year. I think it's time to back the big old green tank up and go get you a quarterback, my guy, respectfully. Everything that we need, I think we've seen everything we needed to see from this Atlanta team. I think it's obviously Tampa Bay's division. They'll be the one team to come out of the division and make the playoffs. Which makes sense. They're probably the most talented team, and they have the best quarterback. Makes sense. You guys need a quarterback. I don't see any benefit right now of Atlanta actually trying to win any more games. It's been a good season. You're never going to fire the coach. We all know you have the right guy at coach. Your offensive line is set. Why? Because you got an offensive lineman as your head coach. He's going to run the ball regardless. Now it's about building out the full infrastructure and leveling out your roster. You got a bunch of money to spend in the offseason. Give me Pittsburgh to win today. I like Tomlin to continue the upward trend of them winning some games against teams that they compete well against, that have like the same level of talent across the board based on what they bring to the table. And yeah, that's just my expectation right now. My expectation is that I like Pittsburgh today. No offense to y'all. I think Cordero gets in the end zone. He didn't get in there. He like I said, he's probably the guy I'd bet on for y'all. And also, Pittsburgh's defense just performs at a different level when TJ Watt is in the lineup. It's clear as day. His impact is felt and shown. I like him in a close one today. That's just my expectation. Also, George Pickens over 48.5 yards. I like his prop because I think that they obviously have opened up a huge role for him. Deontay Johnson is paid. He's the other guy on the other side. We know he's going to get a level of targets too from Kenny Pickett. So that's my expectation. Sorry to make it seem like I was shitting on your team, but I like the idea of y'all not playing for this season, respectfully.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just Arthur Smith. He's just a different head coach. He's going to justify to keep Marcus Mariota in there. So if we continue to lose, the crowd is going to be bigger on getting Ridder in there. And I think Arthur Smith, he's stubborn. He's going to keep Marcus Mariota because he thinks that's going to get us the wins. If Marcus Mariota keeps on winning these games, he's going to justify himself. I don't see how this Steelers game is going to end up. Atlanta's a really good teaser leg because I don't see Pittsburgh beating them more than like 3 points. I know that Colts game was huge for them, but it's a quick turnaround. The coach were reeling. Jeff Saturday, I mean, he is what he is. I think Arthur Smith is a better head coach. So that's kind of the points for me. The Steelers defense is obviously really good. I was not expecting Atlanta to run over Washington the way they did. So that's the one thing that's going for me because Washington Commanders defense, as you know, is really good as far as stopping the run. And we were able to move the ball pretty efficiently on them. It's going to come down to who makes the mistake. Is it Marcus Mariota or is Kenny Pickett? I would go more with the rookie who's never been in a situation like this. Mike Tomlin, obviously one of the best coaches in the NFL. I don't think he gets enough praise for it. And I live here in Pittsburgh. And I hear how the Steelers fans talk about, Tomlin when they're down. And it's like, you have no idea what would happen if he's not there. But yeah, I can't choose the winner, but I know with Atlanta being home, they're a better home team. So at least what you can do is take a teaser leg on them. As far as props go, obviously with everything going on, Pickens being home, he's a Georgia native. Anytime touchdown, why not sprinkle on that? I have no idea what's going on with Najee Harris. I know he was out with the abdominal thing. I don't know if he plays today. We don't do well against tight ends. So Freiermuth, fire him up, whatever you can get on his overs. That's how I'm looking at. I'm expecting a big game between the rookies with Pickens and London. Something tells me that these guys are going to compete to show who's the better wide receiver, even though, London was drafted in the first round. That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. With Tomlin as a coach, there's a reason why up until this year, he's never had a losing season as Steelers head coach or actually as a head coach, period. And yet I still hear way too many Steelers fans talking about, do they need a coaching change? Shut the fuck up with that. You don't need a coaching change. Like you have one of the most stable coaching situations in the NFL outside of Belichick. So I don't even want to hear that noise. Hell, if you even think about firing him, send him down to Tampa. We'll trade you Todd Bowles and you can have Leftwich as well. We'll give you 2 for 1 and some kind of mid-round draft pick. How about that? Anyways, for this game, Pat Freiermuth makes a great DFS play for either cash or for tournaments. You already talked about it, that he's the Falcons have struggled with tight ends. Falcons struggled with the pass defense, 32nd in points allowed to wide receivers, 30th in points allowed to tight ends. So I think that the funny part is that you can actually stack this game for a DFS tournament and make it pretty sneaky. So you can stack Pickens, and you can Freiermuth, and then you can run it back with a couple different pieces from the Atlanta offense. I wouldn't try to make a whole lot of stacks with that one, just because that does have the potential to blow up in your face and be really low scoring. But I think that if you have some shares of that might be one that could sneak in and get you a nice little cash.
Yeah, the one thing I did want to say before I forget, as far as defense goes, I believe Rashad Evans, if you guys don't do any type of defensive props, I actually took him at 9.5 tackles assists. I know Pittsburgh gives up the most tackles to linebackers. Rashad Evans is our outside linebacker. He plays kind of all over the field. Dean Pease loved him when he was in Tennessee. I can't see why he doesn't get over 9.5 tackles and assists. It's juice right now, but that's a good parlay piece.
Well, we appreciate you tapping in with us today and every weekend to cover the Falcons. Until next time, we appreciate that. Head-to-head. Is this going to be the friendliest head-to-head of all time?
Literally, dog.
We've had sad boys.
Nicest humans.
We've had sad boys head-to-heads before. My team stinks. No, my team stinks more. Two of the nicest guys. We got Goose. At least you got to see IU when IU go down yesterday in the rack. And we got Bakari.
He got
the last time we saw him.
Is that the snowman?
You already know, baby.
You already know, man. Let's go. Let's go.
We out in the field today.
I like it.
What's good, y'all? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to both of y'all. Listen, I just want to start by saying I have Jameson Williams on every single fantasy team. So I bet him first touchdown and anytime touchdown because it's a Waymo day. You heard? First play of the game, we going up top to J-Mo.
Wow.
Fastest dude on the planet. I'm so excited to see him play. I just wanted to get that out the way. But again, thank you guys for joining us. I don't know whoever wants to go first is more than welcome to.
Man, let me tell you, the Jags might make a run. They might make a run. Did you guys see that game last week? The way Trevor Lawrence took control of that offense? I mean, if they beat the Lions and if the Eagles beat the Titans, I think they're only 2 games back. They played the Titans 2 more times this season. This might be the start of the run. I'm feeling the Jags. The spread's really low. I feel like the Lions should be a -3, like an even, but they're giving the Jags. I think it's +1 for the Jags. So give me the Jags in this matchup. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm loving the over. That's me my play, though. I hate domed football games. I just realized that yesterday.
Bro, them the best.
I'm paid for play. How much I hate domes in football. Like, embrace the elements.
Mm-mm.
But since there's no elements, these quarterbacks are going to light it up.
Yep, that's what I was feeling too. And Goose, they can go on a run starting next week. Because, the Lions, they're going to take care of business. On Thursday, everybody got to see that we are for real. We ain't no joke no more. Bills have to come back and beat us at the last second. And this week, we're just going to keep on going business as usual, baby. I like the over too, but I'm going that and the Lions money line. And I got a little something for y'all. Sprinkle a little bit. Jamal Williams, 2 touchdowns.
So I haven't been watching Lions games, but I play fantasy football, and DeAndre Swift has been like non-existent. But I feel like this is DeAndre Swift's game to break out because the Jags linebackers have been pretty poor. I feel like the Lions should just dump it off to Swift and get him 5 catches and get him 10 rushes this game. It's so risky to play him because the way he's been used, but I feel like DeAndre Swift is going to have a good game for the Lions today.
Me personally, I stay away from that because Swift, it's weird. They don't know if they want to play him a lot, but they don't know if they want to play him a little bit. It's like some games he'll have more utilization than others. So if you have him, I feel like in your fantasy and you have better options, I would go with those better options if that was me.
Spin. They both love the over here. How's this game go under?
It doesn't. It does not. You have 2 mediocre or worse defenses, and you have 2 offenses that have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. So it does not. This is another game that I am actively looking to stack in DFS, probably more for cash games, just because I think that just looking at projected ownership, a lot of other people will have that idea. So I think that you can stack either side of this one. You can stack Jamal Williams. You can even stack Jamal Williams with Goff and St. Brown, run it back with Kirk. You can run it back with really anybody on the Jag side here. The other thing that I'm looking for here for this one is that I think that if you, for me personally, I really like using Trevor Lawrence in DFS. I like using Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk, and then running it back with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I can very easily see this game being like a 34-31 type of game. So I see no realistic way that this one goes under.
Yeah. So it should be a fun game to watch. I feel like it should be a really good electric game, a lot of offense, minimal defense. I feel like Aiden Hutchinson might get a sack or two just to show the Jags what they missed out on by not drafting him.
That on much. Trayvon Walker is going to be that dude.
So what do you like here in this one?
JMO touchdown plus 320. This is a fun play for me. Nothing crazy. I do think that Trevor Lawrence has been very, very good the last month. It's gone a little bit unnoticed, but he's played great. I fully expect for both these teams to score some points today. I like the over as well in the matchup. So that's what I like.
Give me from today. I feel like Zay Jones had his game last week. Christian Kirk's been having his game. Evan Ingram's been quiet the last 3 games. I think it's a good bounce back spot for Evan Ingram against the Lions defense.
Well, Bakari and Goose, we appreciate you as usual tapping in with
Thanks
us.
for having me, and as always, go Lions, baby, go Lions!
Until next week, let's see who can win that one between the friendliest head-to-head ever.
Ever, for real.
So we got 7 games left on the board here. We're going to go quick, rapid-fire style since we got nobody left for the analysts to pull up for us. So we can tackle it any way we want. Just keep it short because we already hit that hour mark. Let's try to get out of here in the next 15 minutes. Sure, some of these games are a little bit bigger, but that's life. Started off. Kirk, he's in that slot, but against a top defense. Spin, who do you like here to win?
Jets money line. Yep, you heard me. I know. I just incessantly shit on my hometown team, and I hope my wife's watching right now because I'm sure she's throwing something hearing me say that.
So what do you like in this matchup here? Any plays that you
On the opposite side, I like Minnesota to win. Minnesota's back end on their defense has been terrible. I put a small stake on Corey Davis to score a touchdown plus 280. I just think that we've seen Minnesota's back end perform terribly. Whenever you give up 300 plus yards to a Mac Jones, it's just not the move. I like Minnesota on the money line. I like Minnesota to win at home. I like them to win at the crib. They play better at home, and give me the under. Where I'm at.
Minnesota, all their dubs came when Vegas has them favored. All the L's came when they're underdogs here. So if that narrative means anything to you, you can put that into play as well. Large game for the standings, playoff, tiebreakers, everything in play here. Giants are a home dog to Washington coming in. Sure, Washington's finding their rhythm and groove. The Giants are starting to get beat up injury-wise, and the depth may be coming into play. Sosa, how do you not take a home dog here?
Easy, by just simply taking Washington. It's pretty simple here. You just bet on the other team. Washington's rolling. I think we're starting to realize that New York's a bit fugazi, lacking at the skill positions. This Washington defense has been really, really good over the last 6 weeks. They found some level of continuity and chemistry offensively. Give me Washington to win and cover. I think they're the better team. I think they're on a roll right now. Don't trust Daniel Jones. I think we've gotten to the point in the season where we know what he can bring to the table and what he can do. And I feel as though that's been maxed out by Brian Daboll. And when they draft a quarterback next year, or they go and get a Derek Carr or a Aaron Rodgers, then we're going to see much better results next year. But until listen, you can only do so much with an average to below average quarterback. I do not think of Daniel Jones as a very good quarterback. Without Saquon Barkley, he'd probably be getting his CDLs right now.
Yeah, Washington for me here too. I don't want anything that happens with the Giants the rest of the season to take away from the incredible job that Brian Daboll has done coaching this team. They are a year or 2 years away with the talent that they have at all their skills positions. Like Rex already said, they can't handle a lot of injuries, and that's just due to lack of talent. But Daboll has done a phenomenal job with this group. For them to even be in this point, for us to be talking about them in a playoff implication game this deep in the season, all the credit to Daboll for the coaching that he's done, but that only gets you so far. The Commanders are really, like Sosa said, really starting to roll. They're really starting to roll on the ground game, and their defense has played a lot better lately as well, especially their corners, who just got torched earlier in the season, playing a ton better. So this is a Commander spot. I think that we're slowly going to see the Giants fade out, probably miss the playoffs by a game or two. And I hope that they can have a good free agent crop and a good draft, because with the base that they have on that team, the situation could be very, very different next season. So I for me though, they just don't have enough talent right now.
Hey, there's a scenario where they only need 2 more wins and they make the playoffs. 9 could get them there. It'd be the last spot.
At
It would be
receiver,
gross, but
when Darius Slayton's your best downfield threat in the year of our Lord 2022, it's tough. And again, I don't want to take anything away from what Daboll's doing. What he's done to even get them right to where they are right now is incredible. So I'm not going to take anything away from that. The defense is solid as well. However, again, I think it comes to the point where if you're devout of talent and the way I'm looking at Washington, I think they're just rolling right now. I like Washington in this one. I also like Antonio Gibson to score a touchdown.
next game here. Whew. Fields is he going to be able? Maybe he's not 100%. Looks like he's going to give it a roll. Rodgers doesn't look to be 100% either. Is it going to finally switch, or is is Rodgers still going to get to say that he owns him?
I think
or owns the Bears, not.
I think that Rodgers comes out and renews ownership of the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears just got beat by a backup quarterback. I don't give a fuck what anyone says about Mike White. I don't think he's like some great quarterback. That's why players like him are good for like 3 or 4 game stretches at a time, because once you figure out their limitations, you can just exploit them. Give me anytime touchdown from Fields. I know he might be a little bit banged up, but as long as he's on the field, he's a running threat. If you're going to get plus money for him to run for a touchdown, you're going to take it every single time, because he's proven he can do that. Also, we just saw a mobile quarterback just absolutely eviscerate this Green Bay's defense last week. So I don't see that changing with Justin Fields as the quarterback. Other than that, Christian Watson to score a touchdown. I think you got to keep rolling with it. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't you know what I mean? That's a situation with that. He just continues to roll. Obviously, his physical abilities are starting to mesh with him being able to catch the fucking football, and we're seeing good results. Other than that, maybe Monty probably. I like Montgomery as well to ball, but again, we just saw this defense from Green Bay just give up the world of rushing yards. I don't see that changing this week.
Yeah, not a lot for DFS or for fantasy here for me. Start the guys you would normally start, which would probably just be Montgomery, maybe Lazard. If you have, like I do in a league, if you have Kyler Murray as your quarterback on bye, I am going with Rodgers just because of the own Chicago angle. I do think that he shows up a little bit more today, but for me, the play for this one is the over 44.5. There is 63% of bets and 55% of money on that right now. It's up from 44. You can probably get it right in the 44 to 44.5 range. You have the rushing ability of Montgomery and Fields, like Sosa just talked about. And then you have the Rodgers manages to put up points against the Bears. So 44.5 is just a touch too low for me. I wouldn't bet the world on it. I wouldn't go crazy, but that's where I'm looking.
Yep, maybe Komet can get to his groove. He was definitely picking up some fantasy dubs with Fields back there last week. I mean, it was a gross rain game. Sure, you might get some weather because weather is always a factor here. But let's see what we got in this one. We can't go to the next game I had scheduled since he ran away. I got absolutely no thoughts for this game here. What do you got
for me? I will try to stay away from everything on the Rams offense. And the only thing that I think is usable for Seattle, for fantasy or for DFS would be Metcalf, Lockett, Kenneth Walker. Basically the usuals for this one. This is one where I'm actively avoiding props. I'm actively avoiding playing. I'll probably, just because Sunday Ticket has the whole game mix where you can watch all the games at once. That's the only way that I would watch more than about 10 seconds of this game.
Kenneth Walker, final answer. That's all I got in this one. I mean, the Rams have punted on the season. Obviously, we see that. They're done.
Bryce Perkins season.
Yeah, it's a Seattle spot. There's no motivation for the Rams. Seattle's trying to make sure that they stay here in the playoff settings because, as we see, the 49ers look like they mean business. Just saying. Huge game for Seattle. I like Seattle in this one against a backup quarterback. They should perform relatively well. I have no doubts, but when you look at the depletion of the assets and players that the Rams have, you can only lead one way in this one.
And
in my opinion,
and there's not even motivation to lose because normally you tank to get a higher draft pick. That doesn't apply to them.
Right? Fuck them picks, right?
Who needs them?
Next game, before we get to the two bigger games of the day, and low-key, the next one we're going to get to, I think, is the game of the day and not the Chiefs-Bengals that everyone's trying to hype up. But here, we got Mike Williams out, so we had a comment about Joshua Palmer. We've seen DeAndre Carter, him eating in this position as well, just because anyone on the Chargers offense has been a solid play. Spin. Josh Jacobs now looks to be a game time decision. So everyone who's starting him is sweating big time there because you're falling to Zamir White or Amir Abdullah or anyone else that has a 4 o'clock start. So he's putting managers into a pickle. What do you like in this one? He was limited in practice all week and was questionable all week and now has the game 10 decision. So that is the toughest spot for fantasy owners to be in. There's really no clues that would indicate he'd play one way or the other. He was limited in practice last week and then managed to just absolutely smack the Seahawks in the entire game, especially in overtime. So read into that what you will. What I might do is, if you have another option that would either play on Sunday night or on Monday night, so if you have a Tony Pollard, if you have a Rachaad White, if you have somebody like that, you can probably just hold off and see if he's active. If he's active, you have to play him. If you don't, you might have to just roll the dice the other way and keep him on the bench for this one. Throw him into your flex. Give you a lot of options if you have the ability to throw him there.
Because you have a flex spot, because some don't.
That's the way I'm doing it with my league, because I was just talking out my Josh Jacobs thing, because that's why Sky Moore might have to play. But so what do you like in this matchup here?
Probably going to roll with the over in it. I think that's probably the easiest play here. I think that we get a bunch of offense from both teams. The first time this team played, also, the Raiders did not allow any points after one drive in the third quarter. This Raider team, I know the record is bad, but they've been very, very, very close in a multitude of games. Would not shock me if Vegas wins today. Would not shock me at all. I think I like Vegas in this game personally, with or without Jacobs. But that's just that's what I'm looking at. I know the record says one thing, but when you watch the tape and you watch the games, that's the NFL. The fine line between winning and losing, and they've been right there on that line in 85% of their games. I expect a good showing from the Raiders, and I think the Raiders. I like the Raiders to win the game personally. That's my. I think they find a way at home.
Sosa and the Raiders, to me, it's like that. It's like that X that just keeps coming back, and you just keep trusting him. You're like, okay, this time we got it.
This time it'll be different.
This time it'll be different. I appreciate the faith. I really do. I respect the faith. But it's like every week, it's like this time they're going to show up.
Man.
All right. Rex's game of the day. I don't know if Spin and Sosa agree with this one here.
Oh, this one's going to be fun.
Got a lot of narrative in it. You got the potential Super Bowl matchup, all that narrative in it. I just think it's from the styles.
Now we finna play Mahomes, but go ahead.
It's the styles. It's all that good stuff. They both know each other. How much do they both really know each other because they're running different offenses? Spin, we'll make Sosa be quiet for a little bit here. We can take a little bit longer in this one. What do you like?
For this one, this is another really good game for DFS stacking as well. You can stack it any which way you want it. For me personally, I would probably stack Jimmy, Ayuk, Kittle, run it back with Waddle or Tyreek, one of the two of them, and go from there. The other way to do it would be to stack Tua, Waddle, and Hill, and then run it back with Ayuk, or you can run it back with Kittle from the tight end spot. There's just a whole bunch of different ways that you can organize this game. I think that despite the fact that the Niners defense has been playing phenomenally lately, I think that there's probably a lot of points scored in this game as well. And for me, I'm probably going to have a little something on the over for this one. But, from a DFS standpoint, the only guy that I would probably be a little wary of playing, whether it be fantasy or whether it be for DFS, would be Deebo Samuel. So as of right now, he plans to play. The 49ers didn't even think he'd be able to play until Friday, but barring a pregame setback, he is going to go. So just be aware of that, because there could be some limited usage, could be out there on some packages as a decoy. If you don't have any other better options, you probably have to use him, but just know that he's not going to be at 100%.
Sosa, what are your thoughts on the fish or the fins or whatever you want to call them?
Really like the Dolphins today, man. Let me tell you. I really like them. I mean, they give it up, 33 points a game on the road? Super excited about that defense that almost fucked off a cover against, let me look at this again, Kyle fucking Allen last week. All I'm going to say is this, man. I think it's going to be a good match. Or a good game. I'm still in World Cup mode for some reason.
Yeah, Mbappe had a filthy finish.
I'm watching the best fucking player in the world. Looked like the star that he is. It's amazing. But listen, no left tackle. Armstead's probably not going to play. Obviously, both the running backs that we're facing were on the roster last year. It's the same offense that we run. It's a lot of the same concepts. The thing is, they have two crazy home run hitters at receiver, so they're able to be a little bit more multiple. The game will be won if we can be as physical as possible with these receivers, especially because Tua wants those quick. As soon as he drops back, let's go the ball. Let's his receivers get open. The Niners have to do a good job of compressing the field and making tackles if they do complete those passes and not allowing them to get upfield for 40, 50-yard gains. I like us to win a close game.
You didn't say cover.
I also think the game probably goes under. I know people's expectations are the over. Miami's defense has been rather awful. But I also think that with the way that we play football, we want to limit the number of possessions that we give the other team. So it's a great divide here, because obviously I think we have winnable matchups offensively across the board. And Deebo just got ruled in, by the way, officially. I like us to win a close game. Not gonna call a cover or anything like that. But again, I like the Niners in this situation. I think we know what McDaniel wants to do. and it's going to be a fun chess match at 425. It's so unfortunate we couldn't get this game flexed into Sunday night because everybody wants to watch Jeff fucking Saturday go up against the fucking Cowboys, right?
Hey,
Super excited for that bullshit.
Hey, it's better than having to watch Russ.
Like what the
Marginally.
You're right. You're right. It's whoa.
All right, let's finish it off. I don't got many thoughts for this. I mean, we just kind of alluded to it. You guys any action locked in? If not, I mean, both of you guys hop on Spaces usually before Sunday Night Football to drop some more plays.
Tony
This
Pollard
matchup here.
Like just if it ain't broke, this is another if it ain't broke situation. Just keep doing it. Like if it ain't broke, don't even worry about it. Tony Pollard anytime touchdown. I mean, it's about as safe a bet as we're gonna get. Respect.
Tony Pollard ATD, also Tony Pollard rushing and receiving yards as well. And I think that you can also take a hard look at a lot of under props for the Indy passing game. But other than that, this game's kind of to me.
Yeah. When I was on Street Bet Sports with Jose and Ian on the Gorilla Sports, I gave out the under 44.5. I still like the under 44.5 here. If you want to get more specific, kind of what Spin alluded to, the Colts is sitting at a 16.5 on DraftKings. That's kind of not the best number because you get the push at 17. So that's why I like the 44.5. But defensive score by Dallas could potentially ruin that total. But with the double-digit spreads, I like the unders. Been looking through that recency trends and all those good things like that. But yep, you can sprinkle the Cowboys defensive touchdown. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. I just think they force feed Jonathan Taylor today and see how much success you can get.
We shall see. I'm excited. I'm actually excited for this game. I think that is going to be a very fun Dallas ass whooping. They're going to beat the shit out of them.
Well, if you just tapped in with the slate, we went through all the games on the slate today. The ticker's running at the bottom. If you want to jump back to one of those spots, we had multiple analysts join us for the first 6 to 7 games, and then we ran through the last few pretty quickly there. All your bets, looks, DFS, player props, totals, fantasy was covered as usual until next Sunday. We'll be back. Make sure to like, retweet, follow, sub. We out.
Peace.